Hi, I'm Mason Marangella from Vertex Effects, and today we're going to take a deep dive into all the models of our Mark II pedal boards. So our pedal boards have been out for a little over a year, and during that time we got lots of features and lots of requests from you as users about ways to improve and expand upon the features that were already in existence. Now let's start first with the things that are the same. Size-wise, every model is the exact same size, has the exact same name. There isn't any change as far as sizing or the model names, other than the newest versions being Mark II. Secondly, it still is utilizing a two-tier system. So you have a base level in the front, and then you have a second tier level in the front, which can hinge and pop open so that you can have access to pedals and devices underneath the riser. Also, it's using the same lightweight aircraft aluminum throughout for both the riser and the main platform, so that is exactly the same. The weight is actually slightly improved on the Mark II version because we no longer have a center beam, but we'll get into that in a moment. And these pedal boards will fit into the same exact cases as our Mark I version. So if you were going to upgrade from a Mark I to a Mark II, you don't have to change your case in order to accommodate this. All the recommended cases will be available on the actual sale pages of these pedal boards so that you can consult that to figure out which case you need if you don't have one of these pedal boards already or you're planning to get one for yourself. But let's now talk about the things that are different, which I'm really excited about. Firstly, we now have options for modules for both AC power and for a buffered interface module. On the right side of the pedal board, we have a quad buffer that accommodates pretty much any conceivable routing system that you'd want, from mono to stereo to 4-cable method to 5-cable method to wet-dry and wet-dry-wet, all in the same interface. It has a stereo output buffer with an isolation transformer. You're able to select the polarity of that isolation transformer so that you can match any 2 amps. You can also just use that to have an isolated out, or you can use that output as a split output. So it could be a mono in coming in, and then that would split out to 2 amps getting the exact same mono signal. We also have a passive through if you want to use a non-buffered input, if you have something like a fuzz face or something that would be sensitive to any sort of input buffer. We also have a buffered return for those of you that are using effects loops so that you have the ability to be able to buffer your amp completely, not only in the front of the amp, but also in the sends and returns of your 4-cable method or 5-cable method setup. On the opposite side, we have an AC module. This is allowing you to take the power from the wall, connect it into the pedal board, and then on the inside, we have 2 different AC outlets that allow you to combine 2 different power supplies at one side so that you don't have to have 2 separate AC power cords leaving your power supply going into the wall. You can consolidate it where this is basically becoming a power strip for your entire pedal board. Now, the thing I'm most excited about is that we've removed the center beam on the actual pedal board. Now, on the original pedal boards, you had a beam running the entire depth of the riser, and that did take up some space in terms of your ability to route. And we've replaced that all with just a single leg that's going to be kind of like a kickstand just to offer a little additional support, and that's going to sit right in the middle but allows you the ultimate amount of routing space on the main area of the pedal board. The other thing I'm really excited about is now we have magnetic latches. So when I go to close the pedal board, I don't need to use any sorts of set screws to secure it. The magnets will hold it shut very, very tightly. Now, the last thing that I'm excited about is the way that the risers are oriented for people that are using treadle-style pedals like wahs, volume, or expression pedals. On the original Mark I pedal boards, we just had to shorten or consolidate the width of the actual riser itself in order to accommodate that. Our new version has a laser cutout for all your standard treadle size, volume, wah, and expression pedals, and still allows you to have the option for the buffered module on the side. So you can always have an interface available for routing if you want it and still be able to use your favorite treadle style pedals, as I said, wahs, volumes, or expression pedals. Now, another thing I should mention is that we are going to now sell the platforms and our risers separately. So you could buy a platform, just the pedal board surface without the riser as its own thing, or you could buy the riser separately and either apply it to another Vertex pedal board or in some cases even retrofit this to an existing pedal board by another manufacturer. The other thing to mention is that the modules will be available separately for purchase. So you can purchase the buffer module either installed into the pedal board or the AC module installed into the pedal board, or you can buy them as separate items down the line if you don't need them right away or you decide you want to add that option later on. All of the hardware is included that you will need. It just takes 3 screws and you can mount these modules into any one of our pedal boards at any time. Also, one more thing to mention, not really a functional aspect, but we do have Vertex logos now laser etched into the pedal board, so you get some cool branding there. And of course, we expect that you'll cover this as any good pedal board builder would to maximize the amount of space. But just in case you're wondering if it was a Vertex pedal board, now you know, you got the logos there to prove it. But let's now get into the different models and the riser options within those 4 models, so you can approximately see how many pedals that they'll fit and some possible layout options that you might want to try out if you're to get one of these pedal boards or upgrade from your Mark I to a Mark II pedal board like we're showing today. Let's check it out. Now let's start with the smallest of them all. This is the Travel Lite. It is 17 inches by 10 inches and is the smallest pedal board that we make. This is carry-on friendly, can allow you to fit a ton of pedals in a small space. Again, having those 2 tiers allows you to build up. Has all the options for all of the different modules, whether that's the buffer interface module, whether it's the power module that you can get separately to add on to this. And it just really packs a punch for something so small. Now this pedal board here with the Travel Lite base and the TL1 riser allows you to fit a volume, wah, or expression. Now, for a lot of us, we may not go with one of those because we're already so compact, but we wanted to give you that option in case you did need it. If you do decide to use a volume pedal or a wah or an expression, you probably don't have enough space here to go with a switcher. But typically I like using these boards when I don't have a switcher and I actually just have all the pedals in series, because it allows me to have several pedals across in the front, several pedals in back, allows me to have a power supply underneath, and then maybe I have some always-on pedals that I can kind of stash a little bit closer toward the buffer interface box if I decide I want to add that module here. Now, if you don't have a volume pedal, wah, or expression to fit here in this cutout, we actually have a version that goes all the way across, which allows you to have the full length of the riser to put pedals on top, the full length of the front to put pedals on bottom. You can still put your power supply underneath, maybe put some always-on pedals next to that, and again, still have your buffer interface and your power module underneath. And that will fit a ton of pedals in a compact space, and you could also fit some of the common size switchers in there, whether that's the G3 Atom, the RGM PBC6X, or the Musicom Lab EFX LE. Those more compact style switchers will definitely work great for this, especially if you're going all the way across using the TL1 riser. Now, if you want to see an example of what this might look like in practice, we have a great rig build that I did for one of my favorite local guitar players here in the Bay Area, Asher Belsky. So definitely do check that out if you're interested in seeing what that might look like and how a rig could come together and some of the best practices on how to route cables if you're interested. Now, if the Travel Lite was a little too small for you, we do offer something that's just a little bit of a step up, and this is the Travel Plus. This is 20 inches by 11 inches and is a great small compact size which still fits into carry-on size baggage. Now, this is a really great thing because if you don't know where you're going to be traveling to or whether you're able to check baggage, it's always nice to be able to have your pedal board in hand at all times and travel with you through an airport. And this pedal board will allow you a little bit more spacing than some of our smaller pedal boards like the Travel Lite, and still allow you to fit it on the carry-on baggage or overhead as you're flying in a plane, so your pedal board stays with you the entire time. Now, just like the Travel Lite, this just has 2 different riser sizes. You have the option to put a single treadle-style pedal, a wah, volume, expression, even a small switcher in some cases, depending on which model you get, a couple of pedals on top, a couple of pedals underneath, maybe a tuner up in front. You can still get quite a few pedals on here, and if you went to mini style pedals, you might even be able to pack them a little bit tighter, but this is great for somebody who still wants something compact, still wants to have a volume, wah, or expression. But if you didn't need a volume, wah, or expression, you could just go with the Travel Plus with the TP1 riser, which it goes across the entire width of the pedal board, and then again, scoots back about 6 inches off the front, so you get space in front to put your switcher. Now, this will allow you to pretty much fit any style switcher, although I recommend a more compact style switcher like a Musicom Lab EFX LE, RJM PBC6, or using something like a G3 Atom, putting all your pedals next to that on the sides and on top, underneath with your power supply. And then, of course, on the sides, you have your options for your power module, you have your options for your buffer interface module, which of course you can add on to any of the pedal boards, including this one right here. And if you want to see what this looks like fully assembled, I have a great rig build that I did for my friend Paul Jackson Jr., the studio legend, using this exact style board for him, and you can get a sense of how that came together, how many pedals fit on there, and how you might route something like this using something so compact like this that's still carry-on friendly. Next, we have our second to largest size. This is the Tour Compact. Now this is 26 inches by 14 inches, still meets all the criteria in terms of being able to meet checked baggage. Now this model has 3 different riser options as opposed to 2 different riser options for the 2 smaller size pedal boards we mentioned before. This has a double cutout so that you have the ability to put any 2 treadle style pedals. Again, that's like a wah, volume, expression, any combination thereof can fit with standard sizes of those types of pedals, plus a smaller switcher, so you probably can't go with a full-size switcher with this particular style riser, and you can fit a myriad of pedals, a power supply, and you have those options for the power module and for the buffer interface module to add on to this, no matter which version of this riser that you have. Now what I have in front of me is the Tour Compact with a TC3 riser. Now if this particular riser has too much cut out of it, and you maybe only have one treadle style pedal, like a wah, volume, or expression, we actually offer a TC2 version, which just has a more abbreviated cutout, so you can just fit one of those style pedals, still fit most kind of mid-size switchers, things like the RJM PBC6X, things like the Musicom Lab, EFX LE, or even the Gig Atom versions of the G3s. Those can all fit on this grate, plus you have a wah volume expression, plus you can fit a ton of pedals, power supply, and you got the modules. Now, if you don't have any treadle style pedal at all, we also offer the TC1, which just goes straight across with the entire riser, no cutout. That fits the most amount of pedals for this amount of square inches. All the different versions of switchers are pretty much compatible across the board with this. And again, you still have the options for the power modules, the buffer modules, irrespective of which riser you get with the Tour Compact. Now, if you want to see an example of what this looks like in practice with pedals on it, I recommend that you check out Emily Wolf's video you can see above. This is going to show you exactly how this thing might look and how many pedals we were able to fit on her rig. Now, the largest size pedal board that we make is the Tour Elite, which I have right in front of me is a Tour Elite with a TE3 riser. This is 29 inches by 15 inches and is the largest size pedal board that we make that can still fit into a flight case that will still allow you to be under the normal baggage weight, which is typically 50 pounds, without having to pay any overage. Now, the different riser options are basically just to necessitate how many different of the treadle style pedals you have, whether that's a wah, expression, or volume pedal. So this one with the TE3 is designed to be able to accommodate 2 of those style pedals. So either a wah and an expression, a wah and a volume and expression. You get the idea. Any 2 of those of standard sizes can fit here, in addition to a switcher and quite a few number of pedals. Now, if the TE3 has too many cutouts for you, you can then go down to the TE2, which is essentially the same platform, but it has a little less of a cutout so that it only accommodates one of those treadle style pedals. Again, either a wah, volume, or expression pedal. You'll see here approximately how many standard size pedals will fit in that particular orientation, again, using the Tour Elite size pedal board with the TE2 style riser. Now, if you don't have any treadle style pedals, again, no wahs, volume, expression pedals, and you're using all just normal style pedals, whether it's with a switcher or not, this is going to hold a ton of pedals. And you'll be able to see that here, that you can fit a switcher, you can go without a switcher. You're going to be able to fit a ton of pedals on this, a power supply, plus you have that optional, again, interface box or power module. You could actually fit multiple power supplies underneath this. This is going to be the way you want to go. If you want to have the most number of pedals per square inch, this is going to be the model for you. Again, the Tour Elite, and you have 3 different riser size options depending on whether you use a volume, wah, expression, etc. And if you want to see how this thing looks in the practice of a real build, check out our rig build for David Ryan Harris, where we use a Tour Elite to build his entire rig, exact same size as this. It'll give you a sense of how many pedals could fit on there in addition to what we've already shown you here. Now, another product to mention that's associated with our pedal boards are our individual risers. And we have them in conceivably every standard pedal size, whether it's a standard MXR, Boss, Ibanez, or something more boutique like a Strymon or Wampler, or some customized enclosures like Maris, or the ones that we make, our Vertex Effects. And you can even use them on non-Vertex pedal boards. These are fairly compatible across any line of pedal boards, and they offer you the ability to rise up anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches. Every size has 2 different heights depending on what you need, and very cool, has a routing channel that goes from front to back and a routing channel that goes from side to side. So then that way any pedal that is mounted on top of this allows you the ability to still route cables underneath, so you don't have to route cables around or take up extra cable length or add more capacitance to your system, because these are really designed and thought out to make it as pedalboard friendly as possible, and have this actually add to the ability to be able to route cables more neatly and not take away from it. So those were our Mark II pedal boards. I hope you enjoyed this video and you maybe found a pedal board here that might work for you in your particular system. If you want to have a switcher, or you want to have some sort of true bypass strip, the ability to stash pedals underneath, the ability to have a routing buffered module, and also an AC module, this is going to be a great option for you. Be able to really just maximize the amount of space on your pedal board by really duplicating what's on top, on the bottom, in both places. It really allows you to get as many pedals as possible in the smallest amount of space. And if you have any questions about which pedal board is going to be the best fit for you, you can always put a comment below, send us a link to your pedal board, and we can help you figure out which one of these models is going to be the right fit for you with your exact gear. Or you can send us an email, info@vertexeffects.com, and we would be happy to help you out to figure out which one of these platforms is going to be best for you and get you the rig of your dreams. Until next time, I'm Mason Marangella from Vertex Effects. See you later.